Good morning. This is Christy from the Be the Light YouTube channel. I thank you so much for stopping by. I send you love today, tomorrow, and continuously. First, I want to go ahead and apologize for not making actual videos where you could actually see me. But again, this is the easiest way for me to go about my day still and get a video out. Sometimes ideas come to me even before I'm dressed, or throughout the day when I am busy, whether I'm working outside and I come in all nice and sweaty or whatever. So this is just easier, and I hope you understand. It has nothing to do with me trying to hide behind anything. I can just go about my day again and knock out as many videos as necessary. And this is just a video about kind of my journey again, and things that have taken place. And I'm kind of going to put a little lesson in it for yourself, and give you ideas about things that do exist. So early on in my awakening process, when I was receiving more of my spiritual gift. Now, this is a gift that has always been present with me. It was a gift that I could have tapped into as a child had I not been so afraid. And it starts with sparkles. If you see sparkles, whether your eyes are closed or open, you have a gift of sight, and you can enhance this gift. Also, there are sparkles that do indicate that your angels, your guides, your soul family, the spiritual realm is present, okay? So in the beginning, I have said this in several videos, but in the very beginning, I noticed it one night. I used to stay up a little bit later back then, and sometimes I would have a hard time sleeping out of being more anxious and fear-based back then. It wasn't as bad as it used to be, previously, before this moment, but it was still enough to keep me awake longer than necessary. And so I would lay there in bed sometimes, a lot, to just figure things out with myself. And this one particular night, my husband was already asleep next to me, and we keep the room pitch dark. We don't like any light to come in, period, not even from the clocks. And so I was laying there, and my eyes were shut, and then I opened them, and I could see red sparkles, and it began with red sparkles only. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm just really tired. I'm just seeing these lights now. And so I just rolled over and brushed it off. And then a couple of weeks went by where I knew I wasn't tired. I wasn't even ready to go to bed. But again, I have been so accustomed to using my nighttime hours to figure things out. Ever since I was a little girl, actually, I would have conversations with myself to figure out what was going on in my life. And I would use this time for that, for this great purpose. And so I was laying there again, and I noticed these sparkles again, and how now there's a little bit of blue involved here. And as I continuously looked they began to move like shooting stars. And I looked all around my room, and there they were, everywhere. Thousands of these, in what I called stars back then. And I would compare it to the galaxy. And I stayed up that night for at least 2 hours until I could not hold my eyes open any longer, just watching these beautiful sparkles dance in my room. And I got really upset that night that I couldn't stay awake any longer. And so after that moment, I would every night attempt to look at these sparkles for about a good month, until I was like, okay, if I can see these sparkles here in the nighttime hours in the dark, I wonder if I could see them in the daytime when I was outside. And so I went outside, and it was summertime, and I had my shades on so I could, kind of hide my eyes and what I was doing from my husband, so he wouldn't think I was a freak staring at things. And there they were. And that's when the memory came back of my childhood, of these sparkles, and of my gift. And it was a sense again of coming home. It was, wow, this has always been me, with me. I've always had this, whatever this was, it was always mine. And so every night, and many nights, I would go to bed before my husband, whether the TV was on or not, to close my eyes and to see these sparkles move. And there was this time when I was laying in my bed facing the wall, when I could actually see my husband in my mind on the recliner doing what he was doing. And I was really shocked. I was like, wow, I can see my entire room behind me, everywhere throughout my room. The way that it is, like a movie screen, but kind of like in a bubble, or a bird's eye view, kind of. When you look at those glass globes, I guess, how you can see it, kind of bubbled out a little bit. And I found that very interesting back then. So my point is that, especially when we are, regardless if we are waking up in our spiritual growth or in our everyday life, breadcrumbs are always dropped. And when we can pick up this breadcrumb and find the next and the next, we complete or find understanding to what it is that we were supposed to be doing in life. God in this universe is always dropping breadcrumbs. And I mean, even before my awakening, he was dropping breadcrumbs, attempting to lead me to every part of who I was meant to be. But when we are turned off from seeing the breadcrumbs and just thinking, well, that's just now a dirty piece of food that is on the ground, instead of a sign from God that he's trying to lead us in the right direction, we are missing the greatest parts of who we are in our life. So that's what took place for myself in the beginning of my spiritual growth. And that's what I am talking about at this moment, my spiritual growth, is that was an idea he was giving me that I was capable of tapping into. I am clairvoyant, or psychic, whatever it is you want to call it. I have the ability to see know, and I can hear, and I can smell. I can tap into my life. I can tap into yours and find something about yourself that you don't know. That's part of my gift. I can see regardless on everyday basis and connect with God. But I have the ability to remote see. And that's what I am talking about today. And this is something, though, that everybody has the ability to develop, regardless if you are clairvoyant or psychic or not. You can remote see, and it's just by training yourself. You're training your subconscious mind to view something. Actually, I guess that this is something that I have just read about. So, even being, I don't know, from what I can assume is that everybody has the capability of connecting with God, because it's our true spirit that is actually doing the connection. And by using our physical form to help us in doing that. So it's the stillness part, it's the meditation part that allows this opening to take place. If you are always worried and anxious and fear-based, and your mind is just cluttered, you're going to have a very difficult time with that connection. And you're not going to believe in that connection because of all of the thoughts that are roaming throughout your mind. And it was very difficult for myself in the beginning. I wasn't even attempting to connect with God in that form. I wasn't aware that that's how it actually took place until it began to take place. I had to eliminate, and I used music to calm my mind and ease the pain in my heart. And with time, what I couldn't do before, I could. It's training yourself to let go of things. And so all of this is something that you can achieve by, 1, believing in it, 2, surrendering to it, and 3, practicing it as often as you possibly can. So I was shown again last night my capability of remote seeing. And, I don't know the actual difference between being a clairvoyant and then remote seeing, because I am able to see certain locations without being there, which is what I thought I was using when I was using my clairvoyant abilities. But perhaps I'm combining the two together. Remote seeing can also allow me to see a place that I've never been, but I always thought it was being the clairvoyant part. So it's really fresh for me in trying to find that understanding, regardless of what the name actually is. I find it very interesting, and I am open to learning more about this. The more that you seek understanding for something, and the more persistent you are at it, that's what dictates what you will have. In the very beginning, when I was shown the remote viewing process, I was really new to everything. And again, I was still fear-based. I was not ready to have everything kind of like dumped on my lap, if you will, or on my plate. There was a lot that I was receiving. A lot of my gifts I was receiving in the very beginning. I could see a lot more back then, but I was so afraid of what I was seeing that I pushed it aside. God has taken the time through this year and a half to give me the separation between what I am seeing and the emotions that are attached to it. When we have any sort of emotional attachment to what is taking place, whether it is taking place in our real life or when we are connecting, we prevent goodness from coming in. Every time we react to something in our daily life, especially those negative reactions, we are causing other good things from our life to come into our life because of the negativity that we are. And then that negative emotion that you are expressing now is going to bring forth more negative situations into your life. You're going to retain that negative emotion, and it's going to build on top of that. So he has taught me to be detached because of not just him wanting us to have the greatest life without having an expectation, without having those emotional responses, but because of the capabilities that I have. And I have known this for a long time. I have known that there is something more to what I am able to do. It's just letting go of certain ideas and beliefs, emotions. I knew I had to do a lot of cleaning house within myself in order to fully step in. And so I am still growing, and it will never stop growing. Regardless of what we're doing in our life, we're supposed to continuously evolve and ascend and move with whatever it is that we want in our life. And the more that you trust it, the more that you love it, the more that's going to come to you. And it's also not wanting it so much, not loving it too much, because when you put too much emphasis on it, it's kind of like putting stress on it. And then that's a resistance. You have to just allow things to be. And that takes, again, training yourself to live in the present moment all the time. And whatever comes into your life is meant to either as a blessing or an opportunity. And that opportunity is always there to make you be your best self. And the more that you see life like that, you allow more of the goodness into your life. So I hope I haven't gotten too far off track with this, but the point is just to allow things to be. Whatever it is that you are seeing and feeling that's taking place, we just had a new moon, and I received new opportunities as a result of that new moon. New blessings came into my life yesterday as a result of the new moon. I am at a new cycle right now of receiving, and it's because I've done the work. When you do the work yourself and believe in it, you will receive based upon where you are in your life. We are always receiving, we're always healing, things like that. So I just wanted to take time to make this video about my progress, and I hope that it helps you in your own. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.